All right. We are going to switch gears.
Yeah.
I have a number of topics I want to talk about. I admit up front, it's a little hard for me. I know that they connect in multiple ways, but how to present them so it's clear is not as obvious to me. But I'm going to start by suggesting that we are in a moment that is nothing if not bewildering, right? That the number of things that seem off kilter, counterintuitive, broken, deceptive, all of those parameters have been turned to 11. And I believe that's going to get worse. The LLM AGI issue is going to amplify the confusion.
Large language models, artificial general intelligence, for those who aren't keeping track of every single acronym that is being thrown at them all the time.
That is correct. But anyway, we have talked about the fact that one of the several disasters that is likely to come out of the LLM AGI era, that's large language model, artificial general intelligence, is human confusion. That the inability to know how authentic the thing that you're interacting with is, whether it's a person reporting what an LLM told them, or somebody who didn't even talk to an LLM, who's had their perspective altered by some intrusion into the online environment, is going to cause us at best to all become very cynical and not believe anything, which is a recipe for disaster. This is that era.
Yes.
Okay. So what we have argued up till now is that basically it would be great if there were some rules that you could apply that would at least do a substantial fraction of the heavy lifting of figuring out how to think in this era, right? That's really the label for this segment, how to think, right? And I can't tell you how to think, but I can tell you that we are making progress towards some things that are useful. In the context of artificial intelligence, we have given 2 rules that are useful. One of them is that you should take all of the things that you formerly assumed that are in some way affected by the existence of these large language models, and soon to be AGI if it's not here already, and you should go back to making no assumption, right? You don't have to change your assumption about what's true of the elements on the periodic table or the forces of nature or natural selection as it explains the existence and modification of creatures, because those things aren't affected by the AI. But what we believe about the facts of the present is going to be affected by this dramatically. And so the point is, things that you could safely assume a few years ago are no longer safe to assume. You have to be agnostic about them. And then to the extent that you want to take them back on as assumptions, you need to check them specifically, right? That's rule 1. Rule 2 is treat AGI itself like a new species, right? Like something arrived from somewhere else and you know nothing about it. This is important because as it happens, the way AGI seems to be showing up in the world or threatening to dawn, it is going to have access to the human API. That is the mechanism by which the human mind is contactable from the outside, human language, right? The LLMs are going to have access to human language because that's how they work. So instead of assuming that a statement by one of these entities is meaningful in the way that it would be if a person said this to you, you should be agnostic about what it means, about what's going on internally, because you don't have any mechanism for knowing how the thing thinks, and therefore treating it like a totally new species is the best you can do. Right? It's hard to do in practice, but it is the best you can do. Okay, so that's 2 prototype rules. Here's a realm, artificial intelligence. Here are 2 rules that you can apply straight out of the box that will make you better off than if you didn't have those rules, right? There may be other rules we should add to that list, but for the moment, we've got 2 rules and they constitute some sort of a baseline approach. I want to suggest that there's another realm where we can deploy a rule to good effect. We saw a new chapter of the UFO/UAP story dawn this week.
Again, with the U's and the P's and the A's.
Yeah. UFO, I got unidentified flying object. UAP, aerial phenomena, unidentified aerial phenomena, I think.
It's basically a synonym. It's a fancy sounding synonym for UFO.
I think you're giving it too much credit. It is a rebranding of UFO, and I believe that
I'm not the one who used it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm giving it credit.
No, you're giving it credit by saying that it's a euphemism. And my feeling is UFO had taken on a certain fringe connotation, and that somebody decided it was time to have responsible people be ready to talk about these things in polite society. And so it needed a refresh. The brand had to be reintroduced to the market, and lo and behold, Kentucky Fried Chicken, which sounded stodgy, is now KFC, and it sounds edgy, right? UAP sounds a whole lot more responsible than UFO, despite describing the same damn thing. That's what I think. But in any case,
So I don't want a new planet. I want all of them to find a new planet.
I know just the one.
Yes. Yes. You know the one?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
It's not ready yet. Mars.
I don't actually care.
All right, you don't care. You don't care if it has an atmosphere.
All
right. I'm
Oh my God.
I'm
Okay,
still in
I'm
a
sorry.
more generous mood.
Oh yeah.
But okay. So
Okay.
you can hear the
So
cynicism.
UFO, yeah. So UFO, UAP, 3-letter acronyms, on and on and on. The phenomena here, you're going to employ, you're going to suggest a rule for dealing with. Okay, they got a rebranding.
They've rebranded.
We're supposed to take it seriously now.
Oh yes, it's the serious stuff
Yeah.
now. But the rule is what you might use to look at the news this week. Something new happened in the land of UAPs. What happened? We have a highly credible source who has turned whistleblower and actually now has whistleblower protection, testifying under oath that the federal government has multiple alien craft and dead pilots of those craft. It possesses them, which is huge news, unless it's not true, in which case it's huge news of a different kind. But now you have to live in a world where you can't figure out which of those two it is. Okay?
It's Schrodinger's world.
It's Schrodinger's UFO pilots.
I mean, I feel like, but I think the LLM AGI situation is producing like Schrodinger's reality everywhere. Like there's so many of these where it's just like, I just can't know. And for some of them, like, you know what? No, I'm just like, if that's true, then I don't care. Like, I'm done. So I'm just going to go with this one. But so many of them is like, I really have to keep these simultaneously, these mutually exclusive things alive at the same time.
You are stuck in a quantum superposition nightmare.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So this is why you need a rule.
Okay. What's the rule?
The rule is PSYOP until proven otherwise. Okay. Now this rule is something I don't know.
So it's a rule about the null hypothesis.
Right. It's a rule about the burden of proof.
Yeah.
And this is either generated in concert with Jeremy Riss, who was a guest on DarkHorse, or maybe it's his, and because we introduced it into the podcast together, it doesn't really matter. Let's say it's Jeremy's, and he's due full credit for it. Nonetheless, the utility of the rule is the following thing. What we have are a lot of phenomena which are increasingly difficult to dismiss, right? A person with proper credentials turning whistleblower on programs that apparently house and attempt to reverse engineer alien aircraft and have in their possession multiple dead pilots, right? That's hard to ignore because what has to be true for that story to be garbage? Okay, a lot. On the other hand, the story is kind of hard to swallow without physical evidence that would at least make earthbound scientists stand up and take notice, because it was not explicable by the material sciences that we are aware of, the biology that we are aware of, for example. And so the point is something like this. First of all, there's an awful lot of eyewitness accounts of very profound stuff happening in our skies, right? I don't know how much you've looked at it, but amazing things, right? Craft moving across space at incredible speeds, turning at rates that not only defy physics, but reason, right? Why?
What do you mean?
Why are the aliens flying like this?
I mean, because they're teenage boys. I don't know.
No. All right. I have a better hypothesis for this one. Okay. No, wait.
You've
No.
been that alien.
I know. Okay. But I haven't. These aliens are worse than I ever was. Okay. They're worse than I ever.
Nothing to say to that.
No, they are. Look, I can prove it.
Okay.
I can prove it. Okay. The aliens. Why are they turning that way? Right? Surely there's a better way to do it.
What are you doing?
Gentler, nicer, easier on the space. Okay, look, but forget it. Okay, you guys, you defend this.
Maybe it's a rental.
They've got a galactic collision damage waiver. Hell yeah. But no, I still have you right where I want you.
Okay, great.
Okay.
On this planet without aliens.
You say I was that guy at one point, a younger person.
I'm just saying a lot. I mean, I was a tiny bit like
How
that
many
too.
how many vehicles have I totaled? These aliens are totaling vehicles in Nevada like nobody's business, right?
What?
Look.
They are?
Yes, that's where the government got these warehouses full of alien crap.
Always in Nevada.
That's not always in Nevada, but there is a look.
Are they interested in the prostitutes? What's going on?
I can steelman this. I learned well from my friend Jeremy Riss. Okay. The steelman of the argument that the preponderance of these things is, in places that, Americans might find entertaining, has to do with the fact that nuclear tests were performed here first, and therefore the beacon that we sent into the universe that said that we are ready for punking by the aliens, which is apparently what they're doing, because let's put it this way, we've got now decades of observation.
Again,
right?
See earlier comment about their teenage boys.
They could be teenage boys punking us, but they're not good at driving, right? They have crashed a lot of these craft according to this new witness. Okay. So anyway, look, here's what I'm really telling you. Okay. We can do this all day long. Am I telling you there are no aliens? No. In fact, I'm telling you that everything I know as a biologist tells me that there most certainly are aliens. What I want to know
The question is one of locale.
Yes. Look, I could be wrong about that. Maybe we're the only life in the universe. And if we're not the only life, maybe no other intelligent life ever escapes the technology, the development of the technology necessary to get here. But if there are aliens, have we been visited, and are we being visited?
Right. And I think, that part of this argument will be clear to almost all of our listeners, but let us just be very clear, right? Forever, as long as I can remember, and I think probably as long as you can remember too. Like, I think both of us, we met each other when we were quite young, but already before we met at like 16, when we became friends, we both understood that we believed that there had to be lots of different evolutions of life in the universe, some of which would be sentient, actually, including in the galaxy.
They don't have to be, but the probability suggests.
The probability suggests that is the case, that we are not alone.
But we are not
alone is a phrase that often gets said, and then the assumption is that you're not saying the part about like right here. And the "we are not alone" conclusion never imagined that meant like everyone's here, because it's the scale, both space and time, of yes, the entire universe, but even just of our galaxy, that allows biologists in particular, but lots of other people, to say, you know what, almost certainly, yes, life has happened elsewhere, but it's not here.
Well, we don't know. I'm open to it any day of the week that the aliens want to settle this. And here's the thing. Aliens who want to show off in our skies and not show up and talk to us about what it is don't make a hell of a lot of sense to me. I'm not saying it's impossible, but there's no reason for aliens to be revealing themselves, zipping around our skies and crashing into our deserts without actually showing up and saying, look, here's what we've got to tell you, or take us to your leader, or resistance is useless, or any of the other things that they might say. Right? So the point is, we've got anomalous aliens who are very interested in causing a problem for small numbers of people who have these encounters they can't shake, and other people who look at them like they're nuts. Why are the aliens doing that? If the aliens want to talk, let's talk. And if they don't want to talk, then the question is, are they really aliens, or are they something else? Right?
Hence
the rule.
The null hypothesis is we are alone here.
No, the null hypothesis is the observation in question, the report in question, the video in question is a psyop until proven otherwise.
So the conclusion is the same, but your framing is specifically around what is that then? The rule is psyop until proven otherwise.
Right. And again, my point is about the thing which you, whoever you are putting in front of me or whoever else. If your point is, how do you explain that? My answer is psyop until proven otherwise. The moment you show me something where psyop is not an obvious possibility, I'm all ears. I'm not saying that there aren't aliens who would be interested in us and come by. They might. Are they barred from doing so by physics? We don't know. We sort of think so, but, you know, people who know better than I do think those rules may not be as absolute as we thought. Okay? I'm totally open to the possibility of aliens, but I'm sick and tired of...
Be precise. Here.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with the idea of aliens showing up here. And actually, I almost think it's one of the few things that might break us out of our terrible trajectory. So there's a part of me that's hopeful for it. But I'm sick of pixels. I'm sick of eyewitness reports of aircraft that do amazing things and make no noise, right? It's unlikely. Now, of course, the PSYOP can start introducing noise. Sure can. I mean, we saw what I think is a really garbagey version of this whole thing, where there was a 911 call from a family who had something crash in their backyard. There were aliens 8-10 feet tall. The police came. The police had caught the object falling out of the sky on a whatever you call it, a body cam, right? So, you know, the story, like, superficially, it's like, whoa. The cops caught it on their cam, and these people are calling saying there are aliens standing around their backyard. They seem to have forgotten to film them. I don't know, maybe these people don't have cell phones. But they didn't catch it. They report that the aliens, when they, you know, there was an alien hiding behind a forklift, and the young man...
Was it a biped?
That's the implication. Now,
Sure.
Nobody seems to have thought to draw a picture of what they saw, which I can't quite explain.
Stretched out humanoid.
Right.
No doubt, because that's always what the aliens look like.
Right. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe their bow plan constraints are great enough that it's more limited than
You know how I feel about that.
Of course, but
yeah.
I'm open to us being wrong about any of this. I
Sure.
just want
Yes.
something that constitutes actual evidence where the most parsimonious explanation is not someone would like you to believe there are aliens, right? When that's the most parsimonious explanation, my point is, my guess is if there are aliens and they're coming here, I'm likely to miss them by 100 years, 1,000 years. Could be a while, right? The idea that we just happen to be here and, you know, Trump and aliens are happening at the same time, right? It's like, okay, maybe you're just trying to get me excited. That's what you're doing. You're feeding me story after story that I can't resist thinking about because you don't want me thinking about, I don't know, corruption and Ukraine or something. Right? I don't know. But anyway,
Trump,
the rule,
COVID, George Floyd, trans,
it's a never...
Ukraine,
Right.
aliens.
It's a never-ending sequence of stories that makes us feel like this is the moment when it's all happening. And anyway, PSYOP until proven otherwise. And I welcome that it is proven otherwise as soon as possible. But, you know, really, you got
I'd like to know.
You got two entities that can do it. The aliens can do it any day they want to do it. And the government can let somebody into that warehouse, you know, so we can talk about what technology it is or what materials it is that can't be explained as earthly in origin. And better still, the alien pilots. Because that here, you're not talking about technology that we just don't know the government has. You're talking about biology. And the point is, actually, biologists might be able to look at that and say earthly or not, right? Or biological or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the setup. You need some rules that allow you to take care of your quantum superposition problem, and PSYOP until proven otherwise is the one to use for UAPs. And I would advise all sorts of people to use that rule, because I believe that to the extent that something wants us to believe the UAPs are really extraterrestrial in origin, it is especially interested in important people.